Hey guys, I hope everybody is doing as great as I am today. Listen, guys, we are going to take a quick moment this afternoon to look over some information regarding a bigger issue that Umar is actually going to be facing at this point. I'm not sure when this is all going to catch up to him because, like I've said in the past, the IRS tends to wait a very long time until they finally just nab you, okay? But there are some bigger issues that Umar has in regards to this 501c that he's claiming, FDMG is supposed to be about. Okay. So, one of the biggest things, hey, Divine, I appreciate you, beautiful Bernice, and everybody else that's in the chat. Everyone that will catch the replay, I truly appreciate you guys as well. But what I wanted to do today was give you some information on the Delaware laws regarding nonprofits as well as the IRS laws, okay? Because most states do require you to have a board of directors, as including Delaware, which does require you to have a board of directors. However, there is this loophole with the board of directors in the state of Delaware that I think Umar knew about when he first started this FDMG school, and why he has been able to slip under the rug with this whole thing of him being the only person on his board of directors in Delaware. But that is a very different thing when it comes to the IRS. And I'm going to talk about that real quick. So, what I'd like to do is share this in regards to what Delaware requires in regards to this, and then we're going to get into the next thing. So bear with me just a moment while I share, and I hope everyone is doing well. Okay, so yes, Delaware law requires all nonprofit corporations to have a board of directors with at least one director. Okay, so this is how Umar has been able to get away with this so long. While Delaware law only mandates a minimum of one director, the corporation certificate or of incorporation or bylaws can outline specific details regarding the number of directors, their qualifications, terms, and the process for their election. The board of directors acts as the ultimate governing body of the organization. So, the minimum requirement in Delaware law mandates that a nonprofit corporation must have at least one director. Okay. The board of governance. The board of directors is responsible for the overall governance and management of the nonprofit organization. So, this is how he's been able to do this. Certificate of incorporation and bylaws. The certificate of incorporation and bylaws outline the specific rules and procedures related to the board of directors, including the number of directors, their qualifications, and the election process. And I wonder if any of the donors can say that they've ever seen any of this paperwork. Okay. The initial directors, the first board of directors is typically appointed during the initial organizational meeting of the nonprofit corporation. Officers, while Delaware law doesn't mandate officers, most nonprofits elect officers like a president, secretary, and treasurer to fulfill specific roles and responsibilities, which is what we were talking about a little bit earlier today, and which is what he needs. And we're going to prove in just a moment that he's not going to be able to get away with this much longer. Annual reporting. Delaware requires nonprofits to file an annual report as well, which includes the names and addresses of the board of directors and officers. So I wonder if Umar has in fact been filing an annual report in Delaware regarding this quote unquote 501c. Okay. But either way, let's take a look at what the IRS has to say when it comes to their requirements. Okay. So while Delaware state law only requires a nonprofit to have at least one director, the IRS generally requires a minimum of three directors for a nonprofit to be eligible for 501c3 status. The IRS also prefers that a majority of the directors not be related to each other. So he can't go in there and get his mama and his daughter and his sister and all them to get on there. He has to actually hire two other people outside of himself, okay, for the IRS to actually approve of him as a 501c. So if he wants to continue with this 501c3 status, he is going to have to actually develop an actual board of directors. Okay. The IRS, when considering a nonprofit for 501c status, typically requires at least three directors. They cannot be related to each other. And Delaware law does allow nonprofits to determine the specifics of their board, including the number of directors, term lengths, and qualifications, information documents, certificate of incorporation, according to Delaware Code online. However, he still is under the requirements of the IRS as well. Okay, so even if he's not, even if he is meeting the requirements at the state of Delaware level, he is not meeting the requirements on a federal level, which comes to the I, the R, and the S. So, sir, you got a problem. You got a big problem because it's clear that he's been saying for several years that he is a 501c and that he is a nonprofit organization. However, the IRS would not recognize him as such. And if he is collecting donations as a nonprofit organization, but yet the IRS is noticing that he's collecting these donations and they have not certified him as a nonprofit organization, he could really have some serious tax issues when it comes to that. So this is a much bigger problem than just the city of Wilmington. He is now going to have to get this matter resolved as well. I'm pretty sure they may have already gotten in touch with him about this, but with all of the publicity that this has been getting, lately in regards to what's been going on with the schools, I'm really thinking that now they might be looking at this a little bit harder. Okay, and yeah, so he's going to have to get those matters resolved pretty quickly. But other than that, I really didn't have much to say. I just definitely wanted to clear that up. That Delaware does have specific laws when it comes to this, and that but the IRS has a their laws actually take precedence over state law. Okay, and that's just what it is when it comes to that. So unfortunately, Umar has a much bigger problem than the city of Wilmington. Anyway, guys, I will talk to you guys soon. I hope everybody is doing well. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out. And peace, guys. Thank you again for watching.